Jochung duto malaro kom gavana ma county ma Migori koro to obedo kod twak gi jofwambo kuma bende ne giwacho achiel kachiel dongruoge mopogore opogore ma bende gibiro timo ne oganda jo county ma Migori poni obio yiero achiel kuomgi kaka gavana ma kono ero. Twak ma kamano ero ma bende oting'o jochung kaka Migosi Ochilo Ayako, Migosi Otieno Dalmasa, Dalmas Otieno, Jena Moronge, John Pesa, Philip Mwabe, Rebecca Morowa, Byron Oginga, kama gin jochung duto ma bende laro kom gavana ma county ma Migori kono kuma bende gisingo mopogore opogore ahinya mag dongruoge ma bende gibiro timo ne oganda jo Migori ka giyudo telo. Twak ma kama endi no bagi mbalarianya manoero Marongo kendo kama endi kaka igiloso.
I quite agree and appreciate that education plays a very major role in any nation. For you to develop, your people must be educated. They may not necessarily be very highly educated, yes, but at least they should have the knowledge, the basic knowledge that is required to navigate the economy. Now, one thing that I think I will appreciate, which I actually started, is the current governor-sponsored students. When I was in the 10th Parliament, I started in Migori in, I think, 2009, and took a sample of students from poor family backgrounds, yes, to Moi University. And those students are now serving this nation. Some are now medical doctors, some are engineers, and so on and so forth. So that is an element that any governor coming in should make sure that we continue with it. We should not encourage it. All we need to do is
affected and the most hurt by the status or the situation in which the dependents, both workers, farmers, and the traders of Sony are affected, the way, yes, they are affected. It hurts me personally. It also hurts generally those who work together with me. The problem that Sony has always had at a national level is similar to the problems that other public-owned mills have had. Importation of sugar that creates a glut in the market. But that's just the national problem. The real problem here is neglect of farmers, so that farmers are no longer interested in growing cane because it does not give returns to them, which will be addressed. The second problem is the mill that is old and therefore is inefficient when it comes to milling sugarcane and makes the cost of doing so very high. The third problem is governance, corruption. So what we have done and continue to do is to get the national government, and I've had very close discussions with Raila Amolo Odinga, and he's the one I believe will be president. He has promised, and the outgoing president also promised, that Sony will have a new mill so that the issue of inefficiency will be addressed. A lot of resources that will be put into farming has also been set aside, and my government will set aside additional resources to assist farmers with productivity when it comes to cane milling. We will also do the roads.
To be the governor for Migori County because I want to break the bias that has existed, I think, since creation. I happen to come from a minority from this county government, and I want to break that bias and seal the gap, right, or the gender gap that has existed in this county. When I talk about gender, I mean all the special interest groups. I want to bring a paradigm shift in leadership whereby I want to consider the youth because I even have a very youthful deputy governor. I also want to consider and ensure that education sector which has been devolved, that is ECD centers and the VTCs, are put to operational.
Industrialization projects I would propose to do in our county to enhance employment opportunities for our youth. But let me mention that I would also like to continue some of the things I've been doing. I think I'm the only person who has a record for sponsoring students through education. This I started in 1985, and by 1989, I had 88 students I was sponsoring through secondary schools from Form 1 up to Form 4. Thereafter, I started taking up students in higher, right through up to university, up to master's degree, up to PhD. And I'm a proud sponsor who has a PhD student I sponsored in America who is working for NASA, the US Strategic Defense Authority against Russia. It's a Kenyan, and you can't believe, a Kenyan from Rongo and in Kabuoro. I also would like to continue what I try to listen if any of my colleagues would mention, that when I'm developing a school, I do not just register a secondary school. I build secondary schools. When I went to Kwe and found 8 mud classrooms, I built all 8 classrooms plus a common room plus a head teacher's office.